Jim, and today it's not just me; it's also Hustle Fitness. Blair Wallace is here with me. When you start, what time is it there, by the way, Blair?
At the moment, mate, it's 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, so we should just let them guess. So in the comments section, just guess. Try to figure out where is Blair in the world, and I want to see how many different places, how many different comments we get on this. But anyway, can you introduce yourself? So the Grit Gym Tribe, we're all about health. Health is your number one resource in life. I think
Yep.
you're kind of I asked you on the show because I think you're kind of a very similar viewpoints to me as on how you tackle this whole fitness, exercise, nutrition, mindset, recovery thing. Tell me a little bit, can you introduce yourself a little bit to the Grit Gym crowd?
Yeah, definitely. So, first of all, thanks for having me.
Totally.
So for
Took
those
us
of
a little
you,
while to wrangle this together, didn't it?
it did. It's winter here at the moment, so it's like really quite cold. Maybe not as cold as what it gets over there, but it's cold enough. And I ended up with the flu, and yeah, I was just bedridden for a good couple of days, and then sort of just not getting over it. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm the owner of Hustle Fitness in Sydney, Australia. So,
Oh, there you go. Cat's out of the bag.
yeah,
Everybody knows where you are.
that gives away the comments. So, yeah, so I probably started on my journey probably around 6 or 7 years ago.
Cool.
I grew up playing rugby. I'm originally from New Zealand, so it's ingrained in our DNA. So I was always around sport.
All Blacks.
Yeah, definitely. That's it. All Blacks, big time. And fast forward a little bit, I met a guy that I played actually rugby league with, who helped me a lot with training and just introduced me to a lot of the ways in the gym. And then from there, I started to become a coach in a commercial gym at a Gold's gym here in Sydney.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I bet that was fun.
Yeah, it was very different. It was good because it was a brand new gym at the time. So
Yeah.
and there was only like 3 trainers, and they ended up having
nice.
like
That's
close
way
to
better.
700 members. So it worked out well for me there.
Yeah.
Long story short, they ended up closing down, and just to poor management. And so I was stuck. I was fortunate enough to have a client who had a warehouse space that he didn't use. So I was training my clients in there.
Oh, nice. So it was actually your client's place.
It was one of my clients' places, yeah.
Oh,
and he's like,
awesome.
I've got this warehouse there that he uses for storage.
Perfect.
And yeah, so I just had to I had kettlebells and TRXs, so we just put them up around the place. And I used that probably for about a good 6 weeks before I moved into where I currently am.
Yeah.
And that's when Hustle Fitness was born, really.
How'd you come up with that name?
Well, I was really into hip hop music.
Oh,
and
yeah?
I love Jay-Z, and like his first. I remember just listening to some of his lyrics in his first album, and "Kate Knock the Hustle" was one of the good songs. But I guess his connotation to my connotation was kind of different. But it's becoming quite popular now, hustle. So
Yeah.
That's how it really started.
Yeah. See, when I was growing up, hustle meant now it kind of means just go hard, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah,
when
definitely.
I was growing up, it definitely had two meanings. Like one was you're going to go hustle people, like you're going to go con them out of money or con them in some way, and the other way was go hard, go hard, go hard.
Yeah.
So it's like, which one are we talking about now? Like you barely ever hear that word anymore. Or
Yeah, exactly.
referred to as that other direction.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty much just like grinding, working hard, and that's the most popular, I think, connotation of it now. So, yeah.
No, that's same thing. Like I think, like I really, when we named ours Grit Gym, I really wanted a name that said, "Here, this is what it's going to take to succeed at this thing that you want to do."
Yeah,
You know, like
definitely.
I think it's probably similar for you. Like you're gonna have to get in, you're gonna have to grind, you're gonna have to go hard. There's gonna be some uncomfortable stuff,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're just
It's
gonna
not going
have
to be
to.
easy,
Yeah, it's not
but
gonna
it's
be
worth it.
easy, and it's not supposed to be. Otherwise,
Yeah,
then when it if it was really easy, it wouldn't be as worth it.
correct. And I
You
think
know?
we'd all have our dream bodies, we'd all have optimal health, everything else like that if it was so easy. So,
Yeah, and then
yeah,
we wouldn't take advantage of it. We'd just be like,
exactly.
yeah,
The
it's
other,
like that joke that Ron Swanson or not Nick Offerman where he's like, uh, he goes, if humans could fly, we'd call it exercise and never do it.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. I think
right.
that's so true. And it's like I think, going through the grind or the grit or the hustle, it just really brings out you learn a lot of things about your character. So it's character building as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
So
think
you
that's what
go
I
ahead,
think
go
that's
for
what
it.
I love about it.
I do too. Like, I like it that you can. There's two ways to look at it, right? Like, it's a process that you're going to do for your entire life, right?
Definitely.
And it's also this like thing that you can pin down and you can go for something super specific at any point in time. Like I'm going to train for a marathon, or I'm going to train for a powerlifting meet, or I'm going to train for a fitness competition, or whatever your thing is. But also, like you never stop doing this thing.
Exactly.
I
It's a
think,
lifetime thing.
yeah, exactly. Like it's not an either or; it's both, and it's really cool.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I think that's definitely something that I believe in too.
Yeah,
Fitness
but
is for life, not just for a short period.
so tell me a little bit about your spot. Like, what do you like? Somebody comes in, or well, tell me a little bit about your journey before we get into that. Like, so
Oh,
you were in rugby,
yeah,
and
so I was in rugby. I was in rugby. Um, before that, actually, before that, I was actually traveling. I was living in London for a little while. Came back, got back into rugby. Put on a lot of weight,
what kind of weight?
just body fat, big time. um, just through basically neglect. I was
Yeah.
just partying and just enjoying my life at the time. And I had a close friend, and he's just like we were sat down having a drink, and he's just like, "What are you going to do with your life?" And he's someone that I looked up to,
Oh.
and I was just like, it was like an epiphany, and I was like, I got to sort myself out. I was probably 23, 24 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
maybe actually a little bit older. But anyway, so I ended up going to one of my friends um, that I played rugby with. So his name was Leo Baxter. So, and he really, really changed my life in a lot of ways.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he was probably one of my first mentors that really showed me the way in terms of fitness. And yeah, I ended up dropping quite a bit of weight. I probably lost around 30 to 35 kilos. So I'm not too sure what that is in pounds.
It's
Maybe six.
it'd be 60. Well, it's 2.2 is the conversion. So if you drop 30 pounds, you drop 66 pounds. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
for all the American people. They're like, oh, 30 kilos. That's not that much. Wait, no, it's double.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
he cut a lot. Like 60
Yeah,
pounds is a lot of weight.
yeah. I ended up getting down to something like 10% body fat, like
Did you
that at
really?
the time. I did. So, and then I guess from that point, I started to learn a lot about myself and what I could achieve. So,
Mm-hmm.
like started to get confidence in. I found just that things were easier. So I was like in the gym, doing chin ups were easier. Performance goals were just crushing them.
Oh, that's awesome.
And just outside influences as well, just like going out with my friends, just not so much partying, but I sort of had I had a good balance, and I think that's what has a lot to do with my mindset even to this day, but also in the little successes that I had along the way. So losing weight, starting Hustle Fitness, getting into the industry, then
Yeah,
starting Hustle Fitness, then meeting my wife, and then just it's sort of just like everything just ended up snowballing
that's
in
cool.
a good way.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier about like how one decision, like you hear the right thing at the right moment, or you get meet the right person at the right moment, or you make the right decision, whatever it is. Well, regardless, you're going to make that decision of like your life going this way, or your life going a completely other direction, like good or bad. You know, we were
Definitely.
talking a lot about that earlier today. It's really cool conversation. So it's kind of interesting to hear it come up here because I mean now
Yeah.
you're helping tons and tons of people able to do what you were doing, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like that's what I love. I love instilling confidence into people, or just seeing them achieve things that they never would. So that, you know, they're limiting self-limiting beliefs. We're
Right.
just getting them in the gym and just seeing their reaction and
I couldn't
what
agree.
they
Yeah.
yeah, like that. You know, it's not a. It's never. I've always said it's not about the weight. It's not about the actual goal, but it's the process
Mm-hmm.
of that is is what I love. You know,
Yeah.
and just seeing someone come in that is so shy, so there's lack self-confidence,
Yeah.
all of that, and just seeing them blossom into
Right.
a person that you know that they truly are. And I think everyone has that in them.
I do too.
Yeah, it's just how you approach it to get the best out of them. I
Mm-hmm.
think, and that's the challenge for me. That's what I love, and that's why I do what I do.
Yeah, same.
We do what we do.
Like I don't get that. Like let's say somebody pulls like a really heavy deadlift, or they squat a lot, or they do something amazing. You know, like the feet doesn't really do much for me.
Yes.
Like cool. You know, they deadlifted 300 pounds. You know, cool. It's the I don't know how to describe it. It's like you notice that they did something that they once found impossible.
Yeah.
Then then they overcame that
Yep.
idea that was impossible. And
Correct.
like there's so many things, like you can look at that and you'd be like, oh no, they just got stronger along the way. Like no, they had to break down so many barriers before even getting the strength, before gaining the strength that would have allowed them to deadlift that 300 pounds. There was a huge journey involved with being able to do that. And I find that to just be like the pinnacle of everything that I do.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it's just like, you know, you see them and they're so apprehensive, and then once they nail that, it's like they sort of start to take self-control. It's like, okay, where we would say, okay, let's go up to the next weight or whatever, they'll be like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
So that's starting to that mindset of them achieving is starting to ingrain into themselves.
Yeah.
So that's where I think that's the beauty about it. It's like it's not somewhere where you just really have to push. You just have to push them to where they can start to believe in themselves. Then they'll start to push themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's the essence of coaching, is when they have that self-belief in themselves. And you know, you're there just to guide as such. I've always think, you know, coaching is about pushing, not pulling. You know, pushing someone towards their goal, not trying to drag them to it. So
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like we're not there to do the, like, for instance, we're like, as a coach, I've never as a coach lifted a weight for anybody.
Yeah.
I've never slapped the food out of their mouth or out of their face. That's a bad way to say it, out of their hand. You know, I've never changed their mind about something that they did.
Correct.
You know, I just pointed the direction. You know,
definitely.
I was like, you got all this motivation, all this enthusiasm, all this courage, all this stuff. Let's channel it. You know, that's all I do. I just point a direction. But
that's exactly it. It's just like, and that's the beauty of it. It's just like they're, you know, the coach. We know what they're capable of, and it's making them believe it as well.
Yeah.
And when that happens, it makes coaching so much more. I guess not so much easier and enjoyable, but it's like you look and you're just like, I did well, and I'm going to continue.
I'd call it enjoyable.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes it easier. I think it's probably about the same workload, but it makes it so much more. To me, it makes it so much more fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you get the person with that like can do, like I'm going to do this no matter what. I'm like, even if I fail, I'm still going to be going for this thing. You know? Like, all right, we can work with this. It's the person that's like, I'm never gonna pull that off, so I'm gonna self-sabotage all the time.
Yeah.
To to prove me wrong, that I wasn't good enough to have it in the first place. It's like, wait, no, like, hold up. Hold up here.
Yeah, it's so true. That's it. It's instilling that mindset into them.
Do you think, like, your belief in the fellow man, or like the person that's coming into you, do you think that your journey has an effect on that? Or do you think like you're just training people over and over has led you to this idea that like if you want it, go out there and get it, sort of thing?
I think well, it's funny because my journey made me believe that if I can, it sounds so cliche, but if I can do it, anyone can do it. But I think that is what's driven me so much.
Sure.
So much.
You mean to help others?
Correct. Exactly. Because like I used to, like one scenario, I remember we were doing a hike and I was probably like the biggest guy there. And and there was probably like 3 or 4 others with me at the time. And these guys were just like killing it. And in my head, I thought, I want to be like I can't stay like this. I want to actually get better and not be the biggest guy in the group. End up probably being one of the fittest out of the people that were there.
Really?
I ended up probably just overtaking them, fitness wise, strength wise, and that instilled the belief in myself. So when I see someone come in, I think everyone has a little bit of what I had in them. It's just a matter of, like, I love a challenge as well. I think that comes from comes from rugby and playing competitive sports.
Do you think that can be learned? Like, because there's a lot of people listening that are going to go, well, I don't really love a challenge. I don't want to be. I don't want the huge challenge. I just want I want the cookie at the end. I want the reward.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not about maybe challenging yourself. It's going to happen. Like, if you step into a gym, that's the challenge.
Yeah. Well, I think like waking up in the morning is a challenge. You got a whole day ahead of you. Like, no matter what, like, the challenge is coming. Whether you want to avoid it or not, you're gonna get that challenge.
You're faced with them every day. So just some are more extreme than others. But you could look at everything as a challenge, whether you're just ticking those boxes off by succeeding with the challenges. Not everything has to be like a PB challenge, but it's just the processes,
right?
Well, that's right, exactly.
Otherwise, that's CrossFit. Like, I'm going to break my time every day. It's like at some point, it's going to break down your body.
You break down yourself, really.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then you stop believing in yourself, and then you give up, and then
definitely. That's one other thing as well. It's like, I think the other side of training people is seeing people come in and then seeing them go beyond what they even think. That's what obviously I learned, and to see them, then do the same thing. Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah, especially like on, I don't know, like younger girls are kind of like at this point have kind of been told enough, like, hey, you can be strong. Like, it's kind of become less and less taboo as time goes along. But you get like a 45 to a 60-year-old female that comes in and deadlifts, 1.5 to 2 times her body weight. And she looks at you like, I never, ever, ever thought that I would be able to do this. And she also all the ones that we've had do this, they tend to think that if they were going to get there, their body would have to just be so muscular that it's insane. And it's just like two huge misconceptions. And they were so scared to touch the weights because of that. Yeah. But they still did. And then they end up looking better in the end because they did those things. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I think that's still a big battle. Like you said, it's usually with a sort of older female crowd that
they've just been fed a lie for a long, long time.
Exactly. And I guess 20, 30 years of being fed that, it's hard to change the mindset. Definitely.
It's just such a common thing for me to hear. Or the same thing with let's take the 45-year-old female that walks in and she's like, well, at my age I can't do all this stuff, right? Like, talking about? No, like I would expect that 80-year-old anyone to walk in here and be able to do like some version of some type of heavy lifting.
Yeah, exactly right. I remember having a lady in the gym, and I gave her a 16 kilo, a 12 kilo kettlebell, and she's like, "This is too heavy."
It's like 25 pounds. Yeah.
She's like, "This is too heavy." So I was like, "Okay," and I knew it was a mindset thing. So I gave her a 16 because it wasn't actually they weren't colored, so they're both black kettlebells, and there wasn't a big size difference. I remember her lifting it and saying, "That's much better." So it's just
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, there's little Jedi mind tricks, I guess, that you do, and she's like, "That's real better. That's a lot better." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So it's
good that you reacted that way. This is like 15 years ago, but it's the first person that I ever trained besides myself, and I was just showing her how to do a 3-point row, trying to help her out. She was asking me questions. And I remember I used a 15-pound weight to show her, and then I put her down on the ground. I thought like maybe she could use like a 20, 25. She wasn't like a tiny little thing, and she didn't look like she was out of shape, and she'd been, and she goes, "Oh, there's no way that I could ever lift that." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, pick up the weight. Like, what are you talking about?"
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think, when they go to the grocery store, they're usually lifting more than that. So
right, they bounce a 40-pound kid off of their hip for like 3 years.
Yeah, exactly right.
And then they go to a weight room and they're scared of touching 40 pounds. And I'm glad that that's starting to die. That whole attitude. But it's really an interesting thing. How much they're really battling when they walk into a weight room.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I guess especially with the nutrition side of things, it's like there's always the extremes.
Right.
No carbs, and then
don't eat any sugar, don't eat any carbohydrates, and on the other side, don't eat any fat, and on the other side, don't eat any protein. And it's like pretty soon, it's like, okay, I'm left with ice. I'm supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I might just eat some fresh air or something tonight. So
don't breathe the air. It'll make
that's definitely where we're heading, I guess. Sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know. I tend to go to the extremes to learn.
Yeah.
But I'm also very aware that there's quite a bit of nonsense out there in those extremes. So I strip all the nonsense. I'm like, all right, what can I learn? What can I learn? What can I learn? And then I come back and I marinate on that and figure out like, okay, this is how this is going to work with how we already do whatever, X, Y, Z.
It's usually somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like you can basically learn from all of these different things, but you don't want to like just subscribe to that. Like it's the only possible way. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Dangerous.
I'm much the same.
What's that?
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely the same. As like, I'm never going to subscribe to just one regimented way as such,
Yeah, so, that'd be like a mechanic saying, "I only use hammers."
Correct. Exactly.
Doesn't make it right.
Yeah, exactly.
How are you gonna turn a bolt? I'm gonna use this hammer. Well, good luck.
Definitely. Yeah.
Not gonna work too well. But no, like, how's it gone? How's it gone so far? Well, what was the question I wanted to ask you before? Oh, what's your process? Like, how do you what's it like? Somebody comes into your gym and says, "Hey, I'm ready to roll."
Yep. So someone comes into our gym. We sit them down, figure out what their goal is, and generally it's very vague. So we need to start to break that down.
Yeah. Before we move on, why do you do that? Why not just use a vague goal like I'd like to get in better shape?
Because it's generally that's very, very vague. So it's like, okay, and then it's so why do you want to get in shape? What's your why? You didn't just you might want to, but what is it? Have you got, did your husband or your wife say that they're not attracted to you anymore? What's the driver behind that? So finding that out is powerful for us.
I think so too. I think it's powerful for the whole thing. Like for one, I want to get in shape. What's it mean to them? Does it mean a powerlifting meet, or does it mean run a marathon, or does it mean, like you said, like just aesthetics, like look better and you know, be in better shape for your spouse. You know, what's it like? What is me being in shape? Like you got to detail the program, right?
Yeah, exactly right. That's like trying to find what that means, the context of it exactly, because it could be two totally different things. So it's just about really nailing that down with them, and really really hammering home that point as such. So like, you know, on the days that they're not motivated, it's like, well, remember that time when you came in and you said that your husband didn't find you as attractive, and he might have just said that in jest, but that's got you really thinking,
right?
You know, that's the driver.
Stirred it up, right? That got him going.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's sort of pushing people into their pain to find the reason that they came in.
Yeah.
And then generally from there, we come up with a program depending on the goal. So it's obviously our programs are goal driven for the client, individualized. And then we just then it's time to make the rubber meet the road.
I haven't heard that in a while.
Right. Yeah. We use that quite a bit. It's a lot of the time too. It's a mindset thing. It's getting into their heads. I find that most people that come in don't have the right mindset as such. So once we can work on that, then we find the process of everything else coming through a lot easier.
Yeah, I've heard other coaches say how they're not motivators, or they don't teach mindset, and it's like, well, I don't know how you're going to get by without it.
Yeah,
on some level, like they were not just like no one walks into a new space comfortable. Yeah, like somebody. If I walked into your gym, I'd be uncomfortable. It's a new space, and I've been into I don't know how many gyms in my life, you know, a ton. So. So that took quite a bit of courage, right? And then they've got to commit to the goal. Well, both of those are both mindset things. Those aren't
definitely.
You know, those aren't nutrition things. You know, those are mindset things. So, like, I just don't know how some of these coaches would say that's not their game. I'm like, well, then you're doing a disservice to your people and to yourself.
Yeah. And how are your results as well? So it's like, you know, are you changing people's lives at all? Like, how are you impacting it by not like getting into their head?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately they have to do it, but like we said earlier, you're the guiding factor.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that too.
You're not the guiding factor. Like, and you better and if you're not, then why are they coming to you?
Yeah, exactly. That was my next point. It's like, why would they seek you out if you can't help them on that side? Mentally get into the physical. So, yeah. You're going to be behind the eight ball I think if you don't address the mindset type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so they've had the courage to show up to your place. You've gotten clear on their goal. They've committed to the goal to getting to the goal that you set, and then they start working out. What's it look like once they start going?
So once they start going, usually, you know, one thing that we're big on at Hustle is our culture. So usually you'll find we run semi-private training as well. So you'll find that a lot of the people that are already there are very accommodating to them. Start to build relationships. So you know, they start to make them feel really, really comfortable. And I think that also helps a lot with a new person's goals and everything else like that, just getting into the gym. They look forward to training with some of the people. Once they've started building that relationship, it's easier to come into the gym, you know, and some people in our gym are doing amazing things. So that really drives them as well.
At some point, do you ever wonder, like, I don't know if you ever wonder this, but like at some point I wonder this, it's like, are they getting more out of being around other people that have already been where they are, or are they getting more out of my guidance? Like, I think it's definitely both, but obviously like once in a
Yeah.
while, wow, that's amazing how much they're getting from the people around them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, especially if a person goes, I was just like you, like, you know, when I came in, I was just exactly that. That's quite comforting to a new person, because they think, well, if and you know, how long have you been here? 3 months, 4 months, 3 years, whatever. You know, I was just everyone starts at some point, you know, and no one gets to. No one is, you know, a person that's been in the gym environment for 3 years started somewhere, so they weren't as good as they are then. So you know, everyone's a novice at some point. So yeah, you know, and I think that's something when a member says that to a new person, that's really comforting for them to know as well. And you know, and it's even things, just the community within the gym, or whether it's on Facebook or whatever. It's just building that community, and
I think so too. It's powerful.
It is. It's really powerful. And like, you know, people that have been in the gym for a little while, they can start to give some advice to an extent. You know, it's just like, you know, oh,
sometimes they explain it better than we do.
Exactly.
Like they'll say it, and you're like, oh man, I got to remember how you said that, because like we get like in our heads like the techno babble,
yeah.
We get so technical with stuff. We're like, abduct the shoulder. It's like, we all know what that means, but they're like, I don't, you know, they're like, go out this way.
yeah. Just breaking it down into simple terms. So, you know, it's just like, oh, you know, are you drinking 2 liters of water? No, I'm not. Well, that's probably a good place to start. Thanks. You know, just simple tips like that. Yeah, and I think that's a big thing. It's culture is huge within any gym, and that helps, I guess, when new people come in and they assimilate into the gym, into the culture, and buy into it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's a pretty amazing thing to watch. Like, it's almost like a little social, like at Grit anyway. It's almost like a little social experiment for me, just like watching it all unfold. It's like the analyst to me is just like, oh my god, it's so cool. But we also have some characters out here, so we have some really really cool, really fun people, and some of them are like just. I mean, I don't think we have anybody that's stupid, but we have some people that are just outrageously smart. We're just like, you are on another level from the rest of the world.
Yeah, definitely. We've got people like that, just from all walks of life, really.
Yeah, it's amazing. They still, I don't want to use the word succumb, but they still like fail to the same things as a lot of other people do. Like like whether you're really really smart, whether you're really really successful, whatever it is, like you still, like almost everybody has these things that get in their way. It's where they kind of self-sabotage, and that's what's gotten them to this point. And now they're trying to confront them. It's really interesting to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But,
so that's what I was going to say. So like, and usually once you know, once a new clients come in, new member, they assimilate, and I think as we just touched on, the power of having a good culture and good people in the gym helps them. So, you know, it's kind of fun. Like sometimes we'll have clients in the gym for like, you know, their sessions go for an hour, and they might be there for like 2 hours because they're like just chatting around and chatting to others.
We have like a bar up here where people can like sit down. That's where I'm sitting right now. People just kind of hang out and chat for like another hour afterwards, just drinking their shakes and stuff. Kind of an interesting thing. That's awesome. It's just kind of like their little home. But that's how we want it, you know. I want you to feel so safe and secure and able to be you out here, that like a place where you can explore who you really want to be and who you are. I want you to feel so safe that you can do that it feels like your living room at home.
Yeah, exactly. So like, we've got many clients that will say, oh, this is like my second home. So that's a cool compliment to get.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah, definitely. Well, I try to keep these under a half hour, but it never happens. But
cool.
where can the Grit Gym Tribe follow you?
Okay, so we're on Facebook. So just Hustle Fitness, Sydney. That'll be the best place. And also on Instagram, which is Hustle Fitness _ Sydney. That's our place there. And that's pretty much where we're at.
Awesome. Is there a difference between a New Zealand accent and an Australian accent?
Yeah, there is.
That's what I've heard. Do you get a hard time being where you are?
Well, it's funny. It's catch-22. So, like, when I'm here, a lot of people go, "Oh, you're from New Zealand?" And it's like, yeah. And then when I go back to New Zealand, they're like, "Gee, your Australian accent's getting strong."
Oh, really?
Yeah. So yeah, it's both, goes both ways. Really.
Yeah. We have a guy here from. He's originally from London, and so he'll go back every now and then. And when he goes back, people will be like, "If you keep talking like an American, we're gonna slap you."
Yeah.
But to us, he sounds like he's just like straight from over the pond, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And when I was living in London, everyone thinks that, like, it doesn't matter if you're from New Zealand or Australia. They think that you're Australian.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Like, they can't pick the accent, but an Australian can pick a New Zealander's accent.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work vice versa.
It'd be the same thing as you're here. Like, I don't know. You could be from Australia. You could be for me, like how dense I am with all that stuff. Like, you could be from London, Australia, or New Zealand, and I would be like, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's like, even with the American accent, I can tell New Yorkers from, say, the West Coast, but and Southerners, but like anything else, I wouldn't really be able to pick it.
I was gonna say, like, can you tell the difference between like a New York and a Mississippi? Like, I'd hope.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. See, like, if you guys were all side by side, I might be able to tell, but just
just having normal conversations, hard to pick.
Yeah.
So,
oh man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, taking the time. I know that it's not, it's middle of the day here. It's not that way there, but
that's all right. That's all right. I've got sessions coming up soon, so I'm up. Cool. I'm ready to go.
Deal. Awesome. Well, I'll let you get to those, but thanks for doing this, man. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, man. Thanks so much.
Up there, I'll tag you in it soon.
Sweet, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Later.
Take care. Later, bye.